Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 268 of the Chase Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on July 22nd, 2025. How are all you wonderful folks doing on this fine day? I hope your week is going well. Things are good around here. We've been doing a little more analytical and technical work here at PEW Science lately. Testing is ongoing, of course, but we're working on some tools that I think you folks will find useful. It's always good to maximize the utility of the information we gather from the research. That's one of our goals. It has always been of this effort. One of our goals is to stretch that information and see how far we can go with it. And I think we've been able to go pretty far from what you've seen, and I think we're going to go further, which is cool. So it'll be a quick episode for you today. A big reason for that is because of all the other things we're working on behind the scenes, but nonetheless, we're going to do this as a single topic, I think, and boy, oh boy, is it a humdinger. So today, with this episode, we're publishing the technical evaluation of the Dillon Rifle Company DRC556 silencer. Yeah, that's on the 14.5-inch M4. This is the first study that will show you of this silencer. And this is a big one, guys, or should I say, big report, but smaller silencer. Yeah, this thing is only 5.75 inches long with the mount included as tested. And it's putting up some major numbers on the board. And it's in Canel 3D printed, and it uses PIP technology. Yeah, that's right. So we'll get into the introductory discussion for this white paper on today's episode. And then the next episode, as is tradition, we will hit the deep dive. Okay? Sound good? Cool. Okay, let's get on with the show. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new to the podcast, gosh, we're so glad to have you here. It's going to be so neat. We're going to talk about silencers and everything that makes them work. It's really cool. And we're so glad to have you with us. There are always timestamps in the episode description, so you can jump wherever you would like to jump, so you don't have to hang around for ads or anything. Because this is such a short episode, and it feels weird to do more ads than there's actual silencer talk in the episode, I'm going to go through our sponsors very quickly. I'm sure they won't mind. And just tell you about them really quick, and then we'll get into the topic, okay? First sponsor, Legion Athletics. They're awesome. If you actually lift weights and you want to make yourself feel better because you get the proper nutrients, go to legionathletics.com, use the code PEW Science to save money. It's awesome. Podcast is brought to you by Silencer Shop, largest distributor of silencers in the world. They endorse PEW Science, all of our methodology, and our lab. Therefore, we endorse them. If you're a dealer and you need a kiosk to have people buy more silencers from you more easily and help people not mess stuff up, it's a good place for that. Also, podcast sponsored by Top Gun Range. They're a dealer in Houston. They let you shoot all the silencers before you buy them. And guess what? They use PEW Science research. It's awesome. TopGunRange.com. Also, we're sponsored by Capital Armory, amazing dealer in Texas. They ship silencers directly to your door. That's right. Oh, and they also know a lot about silencers because they're silencer people, the best kind of people. And finally, the podcast is brought to you by the PEW Science Laboratory. That's us. We make all of this happen for you. Why? Because it's what we do. 7 sections of the standard, pewscience.com. Join with a membership. You get more. It's really cheap. We haven't raised the rates with inflation over 5 years. It's almost free. It's less than a cup of coffee. Join the most complete and awesome silencer research movement in the universe. pewscience.com. And we'll get into the Dillon Rifle Company topic at a time of 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Oh my God, it didn't before 4 minutes. What is up? Get a drink of water 1 second. That's a record, if I do say so myself. Topic 1, Sound Signature Review 6194. The Dillon Rifle Company DRC556 on the 14.5-inch 556 M4. That's a mouthful. Oh my goodness. More purposely induced porosity silencers. Yeah, PIP is proliferating. Say that 3 times fast. So, in this research, we're going to explore how this adaptation of the technology performs. It's a little different, and I think one of the themes here is going to be form factor. Form factor is becoming a hot topic lately. So we're going to explore this new silencer from Dillon in this introductory discussion to this white paper published with this episode. Excuse me. It's going to be awesome. And boy howdy is the competition in the space heating up. And the 556 silencer space, specifically, like the 556 silencer, the supersonic 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO, that cartridge that screams out of these long and short barrels, trying to suppress that. Boy, I mean, I have not seen a love of a cartridge. It's just people love this stuff and suppressing it is awesome. And I think we're about to go on a run. And I think what better way to start the madness, or continue the madness, but with a new entry into the playing field. And that's from Dillon Rifle Company of all people, which is amazing. And, I think, and you look at this and looks like it's PIP time again. And, this silencer does use PIP tech under license. The last time you saw a silencer with PIP technology evaluated by our lab was back in report 175 and 176, actually. What was that? That was the PTR Vent Spiritus on both the Mark 18 and on the M4. I think we published those simultaneously back then. That was back in mid-January, actually, believe it or not. And I went back and looked at that. It was a lot longer ago than I thought. It's kind of interesting because I think the Spiritus is going to be compared with this Dillon silencer a lot. And well, I can tell you that that's the case because we actually have compared it a lot ourselves. It is the nature of this stuff, and particularly the nature of the two designs. And you'll understand more about why I'm saying that as you get into this and get more familiar with the silencer. And so we're going to save the technical nitty-gritty and performance details for the next episode's technical discussion. And the deep dive into the report as is tradition. But I do want to give you folks an overview of the silencer today and how the silencer is configured and how the technology inside the silencer works. At a high level overview on this episode, just to give you a refresher, because apparently it's been about half a year since we spoke about this technology in detail. I did not think it was back in January, but it's already end of July. So yeah, it's been a minute. And so this is the first consumer silencer product from Dillon, I think. They do have a 50 caliber silencer as well that consumers can also purchase. That is actually very interesting. Some of you who have been to arms shows have also seen something that exists for miniguns, which is also very interesting as well. And that's really all I can say. But I will say emphatically that those silencers are very interesting. Those of you who've been listening to the podcast for a while know that I like that word. This DRC556, the topic of today, is equally interesting, not only for its performance, but also for its size. And, so we actually tested this silencer with the included direct thread mount, which would make sense since it's included with the silencer. And with that mount installed, like I said earlier, it's only 5.75 inches long. Without the mount, it's only 5.38 inches long. It's not quite a K silencer. It's not quite in that territory for purists. And I think I'd call myself a purist. But it's getting on the shorter side of full-size 5.56 silencers. I think it's getting on the shorter side. You're down below. You're in the total envelope. You're a quarter inch under 6. Yeah, you're getting small. I'll give you that. I think it's getting small. And just real quick, remember, as we mentioned the other day, everyone and their mom is claiming to have K silencers nowadays. As soon as you get shorter than 6 inches, it's a K silencer. Bro. Let's leave some room for the actual K silencers. Okay, then we'll talk. All right. Just let's leave some room for the actual ones, shall we? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not get too excited. But on a serious note, the pure suppression performance from this Dillon silencer in a 5 3/4 inch total envelope with the mount is a really big deal. I want to tell you that this silencer is a big deal. And I'm saying that objectively because you'll see it when you read the report. You'll see what it's doing for the length. Now, there are some things they did in the design of the this Dillon silencer to achieve the suppression performance it's getting. It's not magic. They had to do some things to make it do what it is doing. And you are going to be able to see some of those things in the data and analysis. Imagine that. Weird. Now remember, and I'm going to give you some contextual information here. Remember, the PTR vent spiritus is a little bit longer than this Dillon silencer. And when you're using PIP, length can be a really big deal. Length is, I think, as we talked about last episode with the tiny silencer, and as I've talked to you probably ad nauseum for the past 5 years, what's one of our favorite things to look at technically with regard to silencer performance? The dimension of time. Time waits for no man, time waits for no silencer. And when you get shorter, different designs perform in different ways, and it's an incredible challenge for all types of technologies. It just so happens that when you're using PIP, the length is of the utmost importance, and shortening the length of the system when it's counting on PIP and certain implementations of PIP presents some particular challenges when wanting to keep the performance really high. And this has a lot to do with really two principal things. One, how the PIP works for suppression in a basic sense, just in a gross sense. And two, how the designers of the specific silencer have chosen to implement PIP as part of its holistic design. Okay, there's some nuance here. And so again, we're going to go into this more on the deep dive next episode, but it's really a mix of these two things. And to give you a basic recap on PIP, it is a tuned porosity lattice structure. So you're forcing blast loads through the lattice, and you're increasing turbulence and forcing a significant amount of surface area contact with high pressure expanding gases. That is, I don't want to say it's obvious, because it's certainly not an obvious thing, but it is, I think, relatively straightforward to picture. Yes, relatively intuitive when you put it like that. And so this action, it's a double-edged sword for increasing the efficiency of heat transfer, which, you guessed it, directly increases the efficiency of signature suppression. Yeah, the more heat you can transfer in your time regime of interest, the less severe the expanding blast loads become when they reach atmosphere. Okay, now there's also some highly complex things that happen as you break the blast waves into wavelets through the PIP vents. We talked about that probably back in January when we went through the PIP last time. And that's another thing that's really interesting. Just like the Spiritus, the Dillon silencer, it vents radially with PIP vents like around the end. And the entire distal end of the silencer, like in the axial direction, what you would call the end cap, if the end cap of this is removable, which it's not, but if you want to say the end cap, that entire thing is vented too, just like the Spiritus. And the artistry with the DRC556, this Dillon silencer, it's a little different than with the Spiritus, though, because with the Dillon, they made the muzzle of the silencer look kind of like a minigun. And it fits with their name, and I think, in their legacy. So I think that's cool. I think it's kind of cool looking. I say artistry. I mean the visual appearance. It's going to look a little different. Whatever. It's actually, form does follow function in some of these ways. In some of this, one thing that Dillon did with this silencer that is a little different than the Spiritus is that they increased the diameter to 1 3/4 inches from around 1.62. So you went up to 1.75 from 1.62 inches. Okay, and it doesn't. When I say it like that, I'm thinking to myself, well, it doesn't sound significant because it's really not a huge change. But when you put the silencer side by side, it's pretty apparent, dude. You can tell. And if I was a betting man, I believe the diameter was increased because the length decreased. I don't know that for sure. I actually have not spoken at length with the designer of the silencer about that, but I'm willing to bet that is the case. And you'll see why when you read the report, and also when we talk about it next time in detail. There's something else that's different between the Spiritus and the DRC556, and it's actually a really big deal. And that's the blast chamber. Yeah, we're going to talk about that more in depth next episode, but you're going to notice a distinct difference in what the Dillon silencer does compared to what the Spiritus does. Okay, you're going to notice that in the report. Now, keep in mind, the performance highlighted in today's report is on the standard untuned 14.5-inch M4. This is an overgassed rifle. I want you to really, really remember that. Okay? Also, more disclaimers. I want you to know that we have Mark 18 data for this thing too. So that's all I'm going to say about that for now, but I'm really hoping you listen to me. Okay. So we've seen several folks compare this silencer. Actually, I'm on the internet. Sometimes I've been known to browse the World Wide Web using Netscape. And I've seen some folks compare this with some very popular sort of compact, but not quite K silencers, some high performance, not quite K silencers. Like, I don't know, the Cat WB comes to mind. Imagine that. I think you will find that our data and analysis that you see in this report is congruent with the user experiences that have been popping up. Remember, and again, I'm going to say this 100 times, and I think repetition is very good to remember things. This is an untuned gun. Okay, print it out, put it on a Post-it note, stick it on your refrigerator. This is an untuned gun. I don't know. I haven't done a word count on how many times I've used the word untuned in this report, but you can probably find it a lot. The metrics you see in this report when you look in Figure 5 are on the standard untuned mid-gas M4. I've said it several times. It is very important to know that. Members, you're going to see some things in your full report that really help you understand just how important both the gun and the silencer are. For hazard reduction to the operator in the free field, this is a system. Silencers don't reduce the severity of make-believe things. No, they're put on the end of a gun. Okay? That's right. It works together. It's a system. Okay? If I put this silencer on a 22 bolt action with subsonic 22 ammunition, did all of a sudden the Dillon silencer just become the quietest silencer in the world? No. You changed the weapon system. Okay? Guys, every single report for over 5 years, and this is report 194, and there's, I don't know what data point this will be in the rankings, way over 200. Every single one has a weapon system and an ammunition type with it. It's never in a vacuum, and a mount type. It's never in a vacuum. Okay, we're not one of those YouTuber people who's like, oh, this is the best silencer Hollywood Quiet ever. No. We're going to give you specific things. So I want you to know this is how this silencer performs on this gun, full stop, with this mount, full stop. Now, you want to talk about a different configuration? We can talk about it, and I'm happy to talk about that. But I want you to remain cognizant of what we are reporting and what we're not reporting, okay? And now what I haven't done, I haven't done a deep dive on the internet to see what everybody's saying about the silencer. I can tell you from the information we have from folks that have shot the silencer next to other silencers in the research, and that actually are experienced with silencers, it looks like our testing is congruent and our analysis is congruent with their experiences. Now, weapon system matters. Again, there is actually I literally wrote this in the report just in case. There is literally a research note in the report to remind you of something very important regarding hybrid designs. And these advanced hybrids that are, I'd say within the past couple of years have come to market. That's not fair, because 5 years ago we had some advanced hybrids, but not in numbers like we do now. There's a ton of advanced hybrids now. I'd tell you who started it all, but get mad at me. If you think that you fully understand and are a savant and know exactly what's going to happen when you move from a 10.3 inch Mark 18 to a 14.5 inch M4 and vice versa with one of these newfangled hybrid design silencers, man, you got another thing coming. You don't know. And the more complicated the silencer is, the less predictable the behavior is when you change systems. And that has, and I'm not just talking out of my butt, I'm saying that because that has been our public experience in the research so far. And it all kind of started with the Surefire RCT. Remember that? Everyone was like, whoa, how come it wasn't that much safer on the M4s than on Mark 18? Huh. And then some other silencers, like, they jump up, and then some other silencers go down, and some say the same, and you're like, huh. Sometimes the ear metrics change, and you're like, whoa. Yeah. Turns out it's really hard to predict because there's a lot of complex pressures and durations happening when the barrels get longer or shorter, particularly with supersonic ammunition. There's a lot of things going on. Supersonic compressible flow is a humdinger. You know what I mean? So I just want to give those cautions. Now, another thing that I think I would caution you about, and it, maybe not caution, but I think it's important for you to understand about this the technology in the silencer is you can't, and because I want to say this because I don't want people to, a lot of people think certain technologies are simple. And they're like, oh, this is just like steel wool. It's like, well, yes and no. I can tell you right now what you can't do. What you can't do is just slap PIP into a silencer and make the silencer awesome. That's not how that works. You do have to, got to do a little bit of engineering. You got to do a little bit of design. You got to think it through. In my opinion, I think Dillon is coming with a good package here. I really do. And I think it's very competitive. And again, it's important to note this is 3D printed in Canel. All right, 5.75 inches long with the mount, a little over a pound. So like 7.5 ounces as tested with the mount. You can put it on a machine gun. You just follow Dillon's firing schedule recommendations. We're going to put that in the report for you. I mean, guys, and you're going to see the suppression rating. You're going to be like, whoa. I'm telling you, guys, it's getting to the point, and dude, it's 5.75 inches long with the suppression rating. What? I'm telling you, it is getting to the point that some of the competition in the space is simply pulling away from the pack. And I'll go on record as saying that traditional silencers are still great. I do think that. And I think most people also think that. I think most people agree that traditional silencers are still pretty cool. But these advanced designs, they're really coming to take people's lunch money. When you're chasing the upper echelons of silencer innovation and performance, the options you have today as a consumer are amazing. And I think it's really cool to see. It's very exciting to me. I'm very excited about all this stuff. And I'm trying to be more careful with how I display my excitement as we continue to publish research, because I'm it's not just with silencers, just at the other lab I run and other things I do. Anytime I'm people that know me know that I get very excited about things. If I'm upset, you'll know it. If I'm excited, you'll know that too. And I didn't think about that when I started doing this effort. I thought, well, gosh, I'm just going to be honest and excited when I'm excited. And when I get too excited, people get upset because they might not like the thing that I'm excited about. And when I'm excited about it, they might take that as an affront to their opinion, which then makes them defensive and makes them very sad. And when people are sad, sometimes they lash out like an animal backed into a corner and they start to get aggressive. And it's like, well, all that happened because I was excited? Gosh, you took something positive and made it weird. So I'm trying to temper my excitement a little bit, especially with some of these brands that keep putting out good stuff, because people get mad. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I would talk in a monotone voice and just read the darn reports to you, you might get excited anyway when you see the performance. Performance should be undeniable. It should be. I think it is. I think objective performance is undeniable, and it's important to recognize it. And I think people have a right to be excited, So I hope you folks find the data and analysis useful. There's a lot to take in with this report. It'll take you on a little bit of a roller coaster. It's like the ups and downs. Please check it out. If you would be so kind, check it out, share it with your buddies, review it, let it marinate, put it under your pillow. What we'll do is we'll be back next episode to go through it together, step by step, inch by inch, in all the technical nitty gritty. So hopefully we can answer all of your technical questions that you have and gather them as you will. And you can also email us. That's no problem. I will explain to you, tech@pewscience.com. So yeah, like I told you, a short episode today. We're going to finish it before half an hour, just short 20-minute talk on this, which is great. I hope folks get something out of this report. I know many of you have been waiting on this. We've gotten tons of requests for this. So huge thanks to Dillon Rifle Company for trusting the Pew Science Laboratory to perform this testing and analysis, this third-party performance validation. Really huge honor for Pew Science to be able to work with a company like Dillon. Actually doesn't sort of getting imposter syndrome sometimes with this stuff, but it's cool. It's like, all right. And I hope we did a good job. I think we did. I think they did a good job with the silencer. So, kind of makes our job easier. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. So please stay safe out there. I will, talk with you folks again soon, and we'll be back with some, more testing and analysis, before you know it. Have a good rest of your week. All right, bye.